Tomas Krilavicius and Monika Zdanaviciute. So let's start from the very basics. So basically, why do we use data visualization and how it works, how it's helpful for different people and for different tasks? So of course, one of the main things which are important in data visualization is a way to show invisible things. So basically, if you have big data sets, big data collections, very complex data, it's very hard just by looking at the numbers to identify something, to tell something about it. While when you build visualizations, when you show the data, look at it from in a different ways, you can see what's happening there, different trends in the data, different patterns. And of course, you can visualize not only data, but also processes, or usually it could be a combination of data and processes. And in that, you build some story. So basically, you make visualization. If you want to tell something about data, if you want to show something, to explain something. And of course, visualization is basically transformation of data into an easy to understand format. And then you get action and results visualized in your presentation. So basically, if we tell shortly, it's about seeing something in the data, understanding your data, and showing these results, showing some information, some patterns, some trends to somebody. So three main tasks: to see yourself, to understand, and to show to your selected audience. And of course, there are a high number, really a lot of different data visualization methods. And for example, in this periodic table of visualization methods, you can see a huge list of different methods to visualize data, information, strategies, processes, etc. And here I just show it for everybody to see all the variety, but of course you can follow the link and check, actually go deeper and look at different types of visualization. In this lecture, we are going to discuss only basic types of visualization. So the most basic type of visualization, very common, probably most of you saw it in one or another place, probably most of you draw them, are line charts. And in this line chart visualization, we show how it works for tourists as well. So Monika, could you explain actually what this chart shows?
Yes, so here we are analyzing World Tourism Organization dataset, which shows us number of arrival in each country. So here we can see 7 most visited countries: China, Croatia, France, Italy, Mexico, Poland, and Spain, and how tourist numbers changed over time in these countries. So we can see that the highest line is green, is France. So that means that in France, the most is the biggest tourist numbers of all countries. And also we can see that all of these lines are increasing. So that means that over the year, tourist numbers are growing in each country.
Thank you, Monika, and we can continue with different types of visualization. So basically, area chart or area graph, it's kind of extension for line chart, but you use some colors below the lines to make things more visible or more understandable, or maybe to show, the fluctuation better. So Monika, again, please.
Yeah, so as Thomas mentioned, actually is the same information showed in this graph. As we can see here, the green color takes the most place, is the biggest area green color. So that means that the France is most visited country of all of these countries. So that's the same information as in the previous graph.
Okay, so let's move on and one more visualization. So here basically we have again the same stuff as before, but we use color to show all the distribution. And in addition, we can use background to show average number of tourists as well. And let's move on. So of course you can make different choices to show the same thing, just to maybe to show something better, to make some things visible, etc. And then we move to probably the most popular data visualization method. So it's called bar chart. And basically what you have different categories and you see amount of something in this specific category. So again, we visualize some tourism information data. Monika, please.
Yeah, so here is the next data set, which shows us what intangible cultural heritage element each country has. So and this data is taken from UNESCO. In this graph, we can see that China has the highest numbers of ICH elements, and all of the other countries has half of it. So here are also just 7 highest number countries, but there are a lot of more of these countries in this data set.
Okay, so let's move on. And the same bar chart, just different directions. So basically, depending on the bar size, it may be beneficial either to build vertical or horizontal bar chart, and probably it's the same visualization as before in this chart, just different direction. But yeah, Monika, please.
Yeah, so it's the same ICH elements in same countries, but they are grouped into types. So ICH elements are grouped into dance, event, food, music, religious ICH elements, and other that are not assigned to any of these types. So as we can see, the highest bar is in China and it's called other. So that means that China has a lot of ICH elements that are not assigned to any of these usual ICH types. And also we can see that a lot of countries has this brown bar highest, which means that in these countries there are a lot of events, intangible cultural heritage elements.
Okay, let's move on again. So basically, Cleveland dot plot, it's not very common, but actually it's almost the same as bar plot, but instead of using bars, we use a lot cleaner visualization. So we use just dots to show something. And Monika, please comment a bit more.
Yeah, so it's the same information as in the previous graph. We can see that China has that highest dot, which called other, and it's basically the same, but as you mentioned, it's cleaner.
Okay, so and this example, it's already not related with tourism, but it's one of the classical examples. And in addition to having, bar plot style, in this graph, actually, we could have it in bar plot as well. We use grouping as well. So in this visualization, basically, you see classical data set visualization. So gas mileage for different car models, and they are grouped by number of cylinders as well. And we move to more statistically oriented data visualization. So histograms, they are also very popular, and usually they are used when you want to see distribution of something. So in this case, we see tourists and countries as well.
Yes, so this is a frequency distribution of tourist number in countries in 2019. And as we can see, most countries fall into first column and the others are decreasing. So we can see that there are not a lot of countries that has high tourism numbers. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay, again, very popular type of chart, pie chart. And it's very common chart to show, again, to see how things are distributed. If you take 100% of something and when you look at different percentages. And again, here is distribution of ACH elements.
Yeah, we can see those intangible cultural heritage elements types. So the biggest groups are music and events, and also quite a big part is taking elements that are not assigned to any group and called others. And the smallest group of ICH elements is food.
Okay, so let's move on. And then a bit more complex way to visualize data, but it's one of the main tools actually for data analysts, data scientists, statistician. It's called box plot. And in box plot, basically again, you see distribution, but you get a lot of additional information. So basically you see median, you see actually what you have inside first and third quartiles. So where most of the main, let's say, basis of elements are, and then you see you have something called whiskers, which show basically minima and maxima. And in addition, in some cases, you see so-called outliers, which are very specific events. So it could be something very specific, or it could be an error. And Monika, please.
Yeah, so here is an example of a number of tourists in countries in a box plot. And we can see that most countries are in between 1 and 9 million tourists. And the median is somewhere about 4 million tourists per year.
And a lot more bars. Again, Monika.
Yeah, so here we can see the same box plots, but how they are changing over time. So we can see that the box is getting bigger every year. So that means that the number of tourists is growing as we saw in previous graphs.
Yeah. In addition, what you can see that actually in different years you have a bit of fluctuations, and then you see also this division that with time flow, the difference between different countries gets bigger and bigger, because you see that minimum and maximum are getting very different, and also size of a box shows that actually, you have quite big increase in the countries where you have a lot of tourists, but you still have countries which are not so popular. But also these medians, they really show that it's going up all the time, and it's quite, impressive growth as well. And one more visualization. So, Monika.
Yeah, so in the bottom we can see the same box plot, and in the upper graph we can see density of tourists in countries. So it's the same information but in a different type. And also, as you can see, most of the countries are have less than 10 million tourists per year.
Yeah, so and in addition, what you can see at the bottom, you can see these dots, which are called actually outliers. So which are atypical countries where you have really a lot of tourists, and they really different from majority of world countries. And of course, these countries, we saw visualization in other plots, in which countries we have the highest number of tourists as well. So basically, in some plots, you just see specific country selected. In this plot, you can see the context as well, and you can compare actually how it compares to all the other contexts, how it compares with other countries. And error bars, basically, these are just augmentation of different types of visualizations. So on one side we just have scatter plot, on the right side we have bar plots, but in addition we have these bars, they show size of error, and basically in many cases, especially when your measurements can be complicated or it's kind of actually statistical data, sometimes when measuring you may have quite big errors. And for example, on the right hand side where you can see these bars, green bars, and then these error bars as well, they show that, let's say, D and T, while boxes are a bit different, you can see that error is so high that you cannot really claim that D is bigger than E, because error could be also quite big, and actually if you reach maximal negative error, D could be smaller than E. So you also have to take care of that. And it's pretty important way, and it's actually very useful to see these things as well. So to conclude the first part of the lecture, so basically lecture about basic data visualization methods. So there are a lot of different methods. And of course, in the following lectures, we are going to talk about more complex methods. And basically, if you want to build good visualization, and it doesn't matter, do you have a lot of data or it's small data or big data, the important thing is to choose proper methods. And basically, it means that you have to formulate question, and based on that question, you have to try different types of plots. And then probably by discussing it with your colleagues as well, you can choose the plot which is the best plot or the best chart to answer the question you are raising. And in addition, actually different methods may work better or worse for different audiences. So for example, if you are showing for people who has no experience in visualization, bar plots or line charts, probably the best, maybe pie charts are the best way to visualize things. While when you are talking with people who has some statistical background, box plot, histograms are very good tools to show distribution, to show dynamics of the data. Moreover, here we show, as I said, basic visualization, but actually using tools today, it is pretty easy to extend this visualization to make them interactive. So basically to show some elements like, boulder, to make them visible, to change the size, to make selection of different data sets. So actually interactive visualization, which could be very useful for exploratory analysis. And overall, if we look at the data visualization and we want to achieve good quality, you have three very important factors. So basically, the first one is question, actually. Because if you want to visualize something, probably you want to see something or you want to show something. So that is your question. Then, of course, you have your data. And data is very important as well. So if your data has a lot of errors, is very messy, then the answers could be wrong or messy as well, and it could be useless. So when you have questions and data, visualization is your tool to get answer to this question, to get answer for yourself, and then to get visualization as a tool to show to your audience the answer to this question using specific data. And all these things should work together. So that's the way how to build good visualizations. And of course, in this webinar series, you will see a lot more ways and examples of how to build visualizations. Thank you.